Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and thank you for stopping by and watching this video. Now, before we get into it, a few quick, little, easy announcements. So, the Christmas giveaway, I'm going to make the announcement on everything. The full details, 100% promise, but it's going to be on the live stream on Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Workshop Wednesday over here on YouTube. I made the announcement on Facebook that you've got to come and check it out. 9 p.m. on Wednesday at Workshop Wednesday right here. Now, it's just going to be all the specifics of the rules, how to win, uh, how to enter, when I'm going to give it away, all that. So if you want to know that, make sure that you are there for the live if you can. If you can't, at least watch the replay so that way you can be informed about it. It's coming up very, very soon. Second is going to be interviews that's coming up. First one is going to be this Saturday the 18th. All these interviews that I'm going to say, if I get them edited in time, I will release same day, at the very most, the next day. But this Saturday the 18th, I'm going to be interviewing local prepper. I'm excited about that one. Then the following day, on Sunday the 19th, I will be interviewing Living Free in Tennessee with Nicole. So those are two really, really good people. That's just a wealth of knowledge and everything. So I'm excited about being able to talk with them. Now, a couple other ones I have commitments, but we're still working out the actual dates and times and stuff. So those are to be announced. But it is going to be Southern Tier Prepper and JK Survival Bushcraft. So those are coming up. And then I have another one that as soon as I get everything nailed down, so we'll have probably 5 here within the next couple of, I don't know, weeks, maybe 3, 4 weeks or so. So stay tuned because there's a lot of exciting stuff happening. Okay, enough announcements. Let's jump straight into this. And now, again, in no particular order. So, first, there has been the announcement and consensus, or however you want to do it, a confirmation that 5 U.S. soldiers have died in a military air crash in the Eastern Mediterranean. Now, there's not a whole lot of details. They're basically saying that this was a standard training op, which it's one of those ones, it very well could have been. I mean, accidents do happen. It's one of those things when humans evolve, mistakes usually not far behind, but it's kind of almost into that cliche little, think back to like the movie Iron Man. What do we want to tell the public? Oh, just tell them it's a standard training op, and they won't buy it. And then, sure enough, that's what they do. So it's almost kind of become a joke of whenever you hear standard training op accident, is it really that or something else happened? So we'll probably never know. The only truth of the matter is it looks like 5 U.S. military died. So data point. Next, on an Iranian Telegram channel, there was a picture posted with the caption. Now, this is a two-part caption. It is a statement, a slash, a question. So it goes, and I quote, America's Florida nuclear submarine in the Persian Gulf. What will happen if Israel and the U.S. attack Iran? Now, in this picture, it is basically the cloud going up from a nuclear explosion. So it's one of the ones of, again, it's all just words. Well, in this case, picture, but it's all just words. Till there's an action behind it, it's nothing. It's the same as me saying purple, ball, air, whatever. It's just words. So, data point, okay? Now, this one, Netanyahu was recently quoted saying, I say this to the Arab leaders. If you want to protect your interest and your power, you must do one thing, stay silent. End quote. Now, that's extremely interesting. That's there's a lot of ways to take that, a lot of things to unpack with that, and it's a very bold statement because if you look at it on its face, and we're going to be completely fair, we're not taking sides, we're not doing anything. We're just looking at this from a outside looking in. Israel by themselves could is a formidable match for different people, okay? But when you start having all these other people join in, so you start having all these little factions and groups between Hezbollah and Hamas and ISIS and all these other ones, then you start throwing in maybe um, actual countries. So let's say Lebanon gets into it, or Iran gets into it, or something like that. You know, that cuts way down. And really, if you get a bunch of those, especially even Iran, all of them at the same time attacking, Israel by itself stands no chance. Okay, just be honest and be fair about it. So the U.S. would have to step in order for Israel not to be wiped off the map. So knowing that, and you would have to know that, being the leader, to go out and publicly in front of the world say this, and say a threat like that, I mean, that just basically corners the United States, because now we have a choice. Either we back him up and we get drawn into something because, they're basically spouting off, or we go, you kind of ran your mouth, so it's just a data point. It's one of those ones where you got your big buddy behind you, so I can say whatever I want because he's got my back. If the U.S. was not there, or if we was not as involved, I don't think he'd be giving out such strong tones. So we will see. Now, this is par for the course. Whenever you have a conflict, a war, anything like that, you're going to have both sides trying to control the narrative. You're going to try and win hearts and minds of the people. You're going to try and get sympathy. You're going to try and show that you're being successful. There's a lot that goes into it, but a lot of it you have to look very strong, and you have to look like you're leading, and that you're not scared, and you're issuing the threats and all that. So that might just be what this is. So again, data point. Moving on. There is a Russian naval frigate that has entered the Mediterranean through the Strait of Gibraltar on Sunday. So I don't know what else screams "let's get this party started" than a Russian naval, frigate joining the party. Oh, there's so many things, and you got to realize when you have something the size of an aircraft carrier, and especially the fleet that goes with an aircraft carrier, its dominance is in open water. That's the Pacific and the Atlantic. That's a dominant force. You take that real big thing, and all of a sudden you shrink it down to where they're in like the Gulf of something. It makes it much more difficult to maneuver, to do things. And I tell you, I'm not military, I'm not an expert, I'm just an everyday guy, but I do not like the U.S. military being in these little tiny straits, and all these little areas and bodies of water that they're in. It's something about it just does not feel right. I don't like it, and I don't know. It feels like a trap. Something's not right about it. Let's hope I'm wrong, but then again, now you have confirmation that you have a Russian warship entering. Who knows what submarines and other things is in the area that we don't know about, or they aren't telling us about. So, data point. Now, this is interesting, there was a video published of the Iranians moving an unusually large object on Sunday. And this was one of those ones that was on a really, really big, kind of modified trailer. This thing was massive, and it was being pulled by, I don't know, at least 4 trucks, all kind of tethered together, probably because of the weight or whatever. This thing had a bunch of escorts and different things, but there was signs hanging off of it. And now I didn't do this, so I can't 100% confirm it, but translated through some of the other people, and they all kind of seem to agree. There's signs on this trailer that seem to be translated to "keep away" or "face death." So whatever was on that, because it was all covered in tarps and you couldn't see it, and it was kind of hard as those funky shapes. Whatever's on there was very, very important. So, data point. Now, next, again, following some more unconfirmed reports. The reason why I want to throw this one in there is because there's a lot of stories coming out of the B-1B, the strategic bomber. Now, there is confirmed that they are over there. There's at least 3 over there. I know that. I've seen the stories. I've seen us come out and confirm that they're there. They're running missions. They're posting pictures. They're proud they're over there. This one has a ton of shares and a ton of like back channel uh, chatter about this, but there's an unconfirmed report that a B 1B strategic bomber has allegedly been shot down over the Arctic. So, if that turns out to be true, that's massive. That's massive. One, who can shoot it down? Two, who's in that area to shoot it down? There's a lot of unanswered questions. I doubt, seriously doubt, we're going to come out and confirm that. We will probably go, I don't know what you're talking about. So we'll probably never know if that actually happened or not. Now, shortly after the U.S. attacked the two places in Syria, so we went after, as a response of them shelling us, we attacked them back, kind of a tit for tat sort of thing. Shortly after that, the U.S. base in the Conoco oil fields was attacked by multiple rockets. Now, listen to this, resulting in confirmed 4 American soldier deaths and several others injured. So now things are really getting serious. Now U.S. soldiers are dying in military attacks. Okay, this isn't like, some little whatever, something popped off or some little accident or some little one-off thing. This is U.S. soldiers are dying. So that is extremely important. That is going to demand a U.S. response. All right, let's go for take 2. Apparently my microphone decided to just completely give up, and I was pretty much wrapping things up when I realized that the little green dot was gone. So if my voice and the audio of this thing sounds a little different or bad, I apologize. I'm going to really quickly just wrap through this so that way I can get everything fixed and everything before the next videos that roll out, especially the live. So all right, we talked about that. We'll skip that for now. Let's see, the volcano over in Iceland is bubbling, and it's now showing real signs of a eruption at any time. So if you want to know what's going on with all that stuff, I'm not the earthquake guy or the volcano guy. Probably the best guy is to go check out Dutch Sense here on YouTube. That's the guy to go check out for all this stuff. Okay, let's go quickly to the homeland. Senator Gavin Newsom, I'm sorry, not Senator, California Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency after a massive industrial fire, and this fire was so big that it closed one of the busiest freeways over in LA. Now keep in mind that they had to go through and do all these changes and cleanups and all this stuff to get ready for Xi Jinping, the president of China, coming over later. So this is all going to take place kind of all in that same time period. So it might be a good idea for the next couple of days, weekish or so, until all this kind of, goes through, keep maybe a little extra attention to California to see what's all going, because they've got some interesting things happening. So we'll see how all that goes through. Now, I'll move this just a hair. There we go. So there's a huge protest in support of Palestine that took place in Texas. That was an interesting one. A lot of people on horseback, a lot of flags, a lot of chanting. As far as I know, that remained pretty peaceful. I don't think I really saw anything out of there. But, here it is. Here in the homeland, you have all this massive support. Now, they had one we talked about in New York. They've had them in D.C. They've had them everywhere. So, data point. Now, Atlanta police, SWAT, and a number of other agencies clashed with protesters over the construction of a new Cop City training center. Now, we've seen this in the news when the initial kind of thing came out. This was maybe a year ago or so, that there was some of the people, was a smaller group, they kind of like chained themselves to trees or climbed up in trees to stop the construction and things like that. So they're still building this training center, as far as to my knowledge and to what I can remember out of the report and my notes and whatnot. But now the counter protest for this, the people that do not want to see this facility go up, now it's getting much bigger. There was a lot of tear gas, a lot of rubber bullets. I don't think that there was any arrest, which is quite, suspicious in my thing there. So I didn't put this in my notes, but I'm going to talk about it just real quick. I promise I'll be really quick. There was a incident in New York. I don't remember exactly where, but it was in the subway station. So there was a woman being mugged, and one of the transit authority employees witnessed it, went over to intervene. He ended up pulling out a firearm, firing off 2 warning shots before the mugger took off. Now, what's interesting is, and keep this in mind because this whole situation is just messed up, and I know people are going to say, "Oh, it's New York," you know. So there's no anything about the mugger. There's no person of interest, and as far as I can tell, they're not even that interested, even looking for him or even opening up a case about this mugger. But they did issue a kind of arrest for the transit. Now, he has been fired, from what I've read, because the spokesperson for the transit authority said that we do not tolerate firearms, you know, and all that. And then they even spoke to the woman that was being mugged, and she said that she completely was afraid for her life because people are just walking around the streets of New York with guns. Not thank you, you know, not thank you for saving me, not thank you for protecting me, not thank you for being the good Samaritan, you know, for being a fellow American, helping somebody out. It was a, guns are bad. And it's really interesting. It almost, there's a lot to go into that, and I don't want to put my tinfoil hat on this video. So just keep that in mind as a data point, because I think we'll do a video about that here in the future, about, I think, the demise of the Good Samaritan is pretty much here. The random acts of kindness is almost gone. Sad to say. So, all right, that's enough. This is going to be horrible to go through and edit, so I completely apologize if this turns out to be a bad video or not, you know, maybe difficult to watch or something like that. So forgive me this one time. I apologize. I'll do what I can to make sure everything's all set up better in the future. So all right, guys, stay tuned. More information to come. Thank you guys for tuning in so much. God bless each and every one of you, and remember to remain united, because we're all prepping in this together.